Hi everyone, and hooray! Right, after a few additional days, well in actual fact it's probably been about an additional week due to Christmas bank holidays etc. I finally got my delivery of Warhammer Imperium. So I've got 15, 16, 17 and 18, which I will do over the coming weeks. But the one I'm going to do today is the Warhammer Imperium Premium Kit. Now, I also got, as my free subscriber gift, a Citadel colour paint handle, which I will talk about with issue 15. So, I'll get into this in just a sec. The one thing I do need to talk about is this letter, which was included with the subscription, and it basically says that explore the art of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium. So we've got basically a book, one-off special book, comes for the special subscriber price of £14.99 or €17.99 in Republic of Ireland. As a subscriber, we have already reserved a Warhammer 40,000 Imperium art book for you, and it will be sent automatically in your next dispatch. So be aware of that. Okay, it's an automatic opt-in of these extras that they do. And should you want to cancel that, you will need to get in touch at Warhammer Imperium at Hachette -service.com email to cancel it. Otherwise they will bill you an extra 15 quid. You have been warned. Anyway, premium kit comes in this rather nice little box, I suppose. Premium kit number 1. Let's get it open, shall we? Right, so you get your 32-page booklet with it. You get your minis and your bases. Put those out. I think that's probably going to be about the best thing. Right, so we've got 3 40mm and we're going to have 10 32mm, I would have thought. And I've just dropped one on the floor, or at least one on the floor. There's another one there. So yeah. So there's your bases, we'll put those aside. Sorcerer and the plastic. We'll come to that in a sec. Let's have a look at the book, shall we? So, 32-page booklet. It is a pull-apart booklet. It's not a stapled one. It gives you some information. Now this is listed under the page heading or the page identification of Premium 1. It gives you information about Chaos Space Marines, whether ancient bitter warriors of the traitor legions or disillusioned heretics known as Chaos Renegades. Chaos Space Marines are a plague upon the Imperium. From their strongholds in the Eye of Terror, the Maelstrom and other hidden lairs, they strike forth seeking to tear down the Imperium and usher in a new age of madness and terror. So there you go, there's the front page basically on info about the Black Legion, about Chaos Space Marines. Then you've got some info on the Black Legion. We then pretty much go straight into the data sheets, or not the data sheets, but information about the Chaos units that are included with this premium kit. So we've got the Sorcerer, which gives information about their armour and then their battle record. Chaos Space Marines, and this calls out a number of different weapon options that these guys have. And then obviously their battle record, and then the Greater Possessed calls out their war gear there, and then their battle record. Now it goes into how to build all of these with this kit, and you get quite a few pages on that, and then you get quite a few pages on painting, and it gives you an idea of what paints you're going to need. So paints for basing, paints for shade, and then paints for layering. And this actually goes through quite an in-depth painting tutorial with regards to your Chaos Space Marines. It then goes into the data sheets for the individual units. So you've got your Chaos Sorcerer, then your Chaos Space Marines, Greater Possessed, and then it gives you a mission. So it gives you a mission that you can use, and mission forces will be Chaos Space Marines, which will be the Sorcerer, the two Great Possessed, and 10 Chaos Space Marines. And then you will also have the Primaris Librarian, 10 Assault Intercessors, and 3 Aggressors. And you are playing with this piece of cutout terrain, Noctilith Crown, and your deployment edges. So player B, player A, Noctilith Crown in the middle. The Black Legion have assembled their sacrificial offerings and begun a ritual to empower the Noctilith Crown. The Ultramarines must slay the Sorcerer conducting the ritual before the Black Legion plans come to fruition. The forces of chaos cannot be allowed to grow in strength within the Ramesses system. Mission rules. The Noctilith Crown. Before setting up terrain, the photograph cutout of the Noctilith Crown feature located in the inside back cover of this magazine is placed in the centre of the mat as shown. No terrain features can be set up within 3 inches of the Noctilith Crown. Mission objectives. Victory points are awarded as follows. Seize ground, progressive. At the end of each player's command phase, the player whose turn it is scores 10 victory points for each of the following conditions they satisfy for a maximum of 20 victory points. They control 2 or more objective markers. They control more objective markers than their opponent controls. This mission objective cannot be scored in the first battle round. Slay the Warlord, end game. At the end of the game, the Space Marines player who scores 30 victory points... At the end of the game, the Space Marine player scores 30 victory points if the enemy Warlord is destroyed. Ritual progressive. The Chaos Space Marines player earns 10 victory points each time they successfully complete the Warp Rights action. See mission rules. So you've got mission rules, Noctilith Crown, and Warp Rights action, Psychic action, Warp Charge 3. So there you go. That's the 32-page booklet for the first premium issue. Now, I will bring you down so that we can have a look at the plastic. Let's have a look, shall we? So, Chaos Sorcerer. This is their sculpt, and it is 2019 sculpt. So it looks really nice actually. There's some really nice detailing on the cloak for the Chaos emblem, Chaos spikes. Looks like you only get one head option. And yeah, I like it. I'll obviously keep the backpack separate so it's easier to paint the cloak. But yeah, it looks like a fairly open pose, so hopefully getting in there and painting isn't going to be too much of an issue. Now, this I think is a slight cheat considering where it's come from, but you know, I don't think you can complain too much because you're still getting a squad of 10 Chaos Space Marines and you get 2 Greater Possessed. Now, this is these are Monopods push to fit Chaos Space Marines, and I believe that they are part of the Start Collecting box set. There is another sprue which goes with this, which I think gives you some Obliterators and a Venom Crawler, if I'm not mistaken. I probably am, please correct me if I'm wrong. And that's basically the Start Collecting box set for Chaos Space Marines. Now these I'm probably going to do as the Crimson Slaughter. So for those of you that recall, Crimson Slaughter was part of the Chaos Space Marine unit within the Dark Vengeance box set, and it came with, I think it was 5 Space Marines, 1 champion, and obviously the Chaos Lord, and then you had the Hellbrute. Now I'm going to try and make these or paint these in that Crimson Slaughter paint scheme. But looking at the sprue, it's quite, I mean, for single Monopods miniatures, they are really nice. There's quite a bit of detail gone into these. There's a lot of obviously chainmail on the fronts of these tabards, as well as on the Greater Possessed. You've got things like the chest opening up on this particular Space Marine. A nice oldest mark of Space Marine armour there. And again, these, you know, even though they're Monopods, these are really good. The cost of these, I believe they're about £30 for a, if you were to go onto Games Workshop's website to buy a squad of Chaos Space Marines. I will just look that up for you. The 2 Greater Possessed I couldn't find. Previously I could not find a separate unit for Greater Possessed. It seems that these Greater Possessed are unique to the Start Collecting box set. Chaos Space Marines Start Collecting box set. Which, you know, is a bummer for those people that want more Chaos Possessed within their army. So the Start Collecting Chaos Space Marines is £60, and you would get another sprue with this. The Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer is £17.50, and it's £35 if you want to buy a separate set of Chaos Space Marines. Now, to my mind, we're still saving on a fair bit of money there, you know, even though they're Monopods, because it's still, you know, they still look a good set of Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, and if you just wanted a squad of Chaos Space Marines, then yeah, you would be paying £35. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, this is a saving. I know some people will disagree, and feel free to, but that's kind of my slant on a lot of these push fit minis, Monopods minis, is that you get them, we're getting them at a reasonable price. But if you did particularly want a individual unit, then you would have to go out and buy them, you know, at the premium cost, which basically means that, you know, you are saving money regardless of whether they're the Monopods minis or not. But there you go. Anyway, come and join me in a Mo and we will build some of these. I'll do a Greater Possessed, I'll do a Chaos Space Marine, probably the one with the Autocannon, and I'll do the Sorcerer. first mini we're going to build is the Sorcerer. So I've taken the bits off. There's a couple of things I'm not going to do. I'm not going to glue his backpack on. I'm not going to glue his head on to make it basically make him slightly easier to paint. Now it starts off with his left leg going on and the front of his torso. What I'm going to say is that this doesn't seem to be up to the usual moulding standards of GW. It seems that this is slightly gappy. But hopefully it will settle. Now, one thing that you need to consider, and that is that this tabard, which comes down from the waist, obscures his right leg there. So it's going to make it difficult to get in there and paint the detail. So it's up to you whether you glue this on first or not. Now I've chosen to do it because I'm not too worried about what isn't going to be seen behind the tabard. So I'm hoping that it will be okay. So your next bit is his right arm, and you need to construct his hand because it is holding a chaos icon or manifesting a chaos icon. That's part of the sculpt. And that goes on like so. This arm then goes onto this peg. Like thus. Now in the 32-page booklet that you get, it suggests having this as a sub-assembly and then the cloak and staff as another sub-assembly with his backpack attached. Now I'm not going to attach the backpack, but I'm most likely going to do the recommendations of the other bits. So that's his staff attached, and then the tip of the staff fits on like so. Okay, so these are my sub-assemblies for the Chaos Sorcerer, and that's as far as I'm going to take that build. But they will obviously go together like so with the backpack on. And I'm going to paint the head separate because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to get in to paint his psychic hood. So there you go, that's it, that's your Sorcerer, and obviously his head would then go in at the end. So that's the first one. Great Possessed now, and essentially this one is only 4 parts, this particular Great Possessed. And one thing I'm going to say is that the mould lines on these minis coming off the larger sprue included with this premium kit are quite prominent. I mean, really prominent. So be prepared to do more trimming than perhaps you would normally. Okay, now this has a peg on this arm so that it locates in like so. And again with this one, I'm not going to glue the backpack on to make him easier to paint, because there is some detail on the back here. So there's sort of like fleshy parts, sort of like attaching his backpack on. But also you've got this detail on his shoulder pad here, which if the backpack goes on is going to be obscured slightly for painting. But that's one of the greater possessed. And I would recommend him, because of his pose, just pushing him perhaps towards the rear of the base a little bit more to give him better balance and stability. And the autocannon chap, the autocannon I'm not actually going to glue on again, basically for ease of painting. So we're going straight in with his heavy plate torso on the front here. We're then going in with his left arm, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this on just to make sure that it is, yeah, that's fine, placed correctly. We then have his right shoulder pad. Oops. I'm going to pop in his head. But again, I'm not going to glue on his backpack for ease of painting detail. And he is stood on a Mark II piece of tactical rubble. And there you go, that's your heavy weapons choice. So I've just spent the evening assembling all the miniatures. A few of them are currently just held together with blue tack, simply because I've done them in sub-assemblies for painting. But this is what you get in your first premium kit. And it's interesting to note that the Chaos Space Marines are split more or less evenly down the middle. You have 5 which are range dealers with bolt guns and the autocannon, and then you have 5 who are close combat specialists. So the Chaos Champion, who's the leader of this particular squad, has a chain axe, and the rest have chainswords and pistols.
Okay, I found this on the web for who is the leader of this squad has. Check it out.
And there you go. One thing to note in this is that although there is a new Chaos Space Marine Codex coming out potentially in the near future, the Chaos Space Marine datasheet in this booklet has not bumped up the wounds to 2 wounds. These Chaos Space Marines, the standard Marines are only listed as having 1 wound each. So if anybody thought that they might give an updated stat line just a couple of weeks before the Codex drops, I'm afraid you will be sadly disappointed. Alright, join me in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.